Welcome to What's the Scenario with PLRB, where we explore claims and coverage scenarios relevant to insurance professionals. I'm Alicia Watling.
I'm Mike Brode.
And I'm Tim Havler.
Mike, what's the scenario?
Aha, my turn.
I
All
know.
right. Yay. So in this one, we have Parker. He's an adjuster for a company that writes both general liability policies and commercial or business auto policies, and often for the same insureds, like trucking companies that might have semis, or warehouse places, construction companies that have bulldozers, and snow removal companies that might have their equipment, even waste management companies, could even include farmers, and so on and so on. So anytime something with wheels leads to a claim, his colleagues all rush over to Parker to find out whether this claim should fall under the general liability policy or the auto policy. Or there might be even a secret third option that we get to talk about this morning. Ooh.
Ooh.
Now we have all sorts of types of wheeled vehicles and unwheeled vehicles. I guess no, they can't be unwheeled, but yeah, it could be on crawler charts. All sorts of cool stuff. So before we get into the discussion, we're going to do a game show today, which will be fun, right?
Okay.
Hey,
That
hey.
sounds good. Let's do it.
Come on. But before we jump into there, when we're talking about potentially three types of vehicles, well, we're going to cover two of them real quick. And the first is something usually is either going to be an auto, which is, of course, going to be covered under your business auto policy, probably. Then the other broad category stuff is something called mobile equipment, and that generally falls under the CGL coverages for mobile equipment. So, what's the first thing we do, folks, when we're trying to figure this out? We better, because both of those words that I just mentioned, auto and mobile
Mhm.
equipment, are in quotes. All right. So, Tim, what are those quotes tell us?
Wow, we probably got to go to the definition section and
Here,
see
here.
if they're there.
Good man. So, I'm going to go just to the commercial auto policy, and this is the 001 version. I'm reading from the 1218 version, which isn't the newest, but I don't believe they've changed the definitions here much. And the interesting part is both policies kind of dovetail with each other. So, both the CGL policy and the auto policy define these two phrases the same way. So, first, looking in the commercial auto policy, an auto under Section 5 of definitions means a land motor vehicle, trailer, or semi trailer. And here's the important part, designed for travel on public roads. With me there? And then it ends with, however, auto does not include mobile equipment. And mobile equipment is also defined. So let's find that one in our auto policy. And it's conveniently under definition K for cool. Yeah. Yes.
KEWL, cool.
Yeah. Ooh. There you go. So what is mobile equipment? It means any of the following. And there's a ton of stuff here, so I'm not going to read them all, but we'll look at a few of them. So it means any of the following types of land vehicles, including their attached machinery or equipment, and includes stuff like bulldozers, things on crawler treads, farm machinery, stuff like forklifts and backhoes. Then there's things that, hey, if it provides mobility to like cranes, drills, diggers, or road construction equipment, scrapers, graders, rollers, those types of things are mobile equipment. And then if it's like those trailers that if you see going down the road, because whenever we travel, of course, you see road construction, right? You with me?
Mhm.
Eh,
Every
Yep.
time.
yeah, here. So there's a bunch of trailers that have stuff like air compressors on the back or welders. So those types of things are going to be included here in the definition of mobile equipment. And then number 6 gets into some vehicles that even though they might look kind of like mobile equipment, they're always going to be defined as autos. And that's equipment designed primarily for snow removal or road maintenance, but not construction or resurfacing. And then street cleaning. So your old street cleaner with the big old brush in the front and the vacuum, that's always going to be an auto. Okay, we with us? It's kind of confusing. So what do we do, Tim and Alicia, when things are confusing? Why don't we look at some examples? So I think we've got a cool little, and like I said, we'll turn it into a game show for funsies, okay? So we're going to go through
Okay.
some pictures and then we're going to talk about what we think it is, auto or mobile equipment. All right, are you ready?
I like
Yeah.
pictures.
Woohoo! So Brennan, let's get on with the game show. There it is. My favorite vehicle whatsoever someday, except they've gone up
Someday.
exponentially in price. But that is the 1971 Plymouth Roadrunner. Woo! That one's got the air grabber hood, probably got a 440 under the hood. That's one awesome piece. Look at the lines of that vehicle. The American muscle car. Come on, people. You with me?
Sure.
Yes. Thank you,
Would you
Alicia.
pick that color?
I like, yeah, either yellow or there's because Richard Petty used to drive Plymouths back in the day for NASCAR, and he had something called Petty Blue that
Mm,
Chrysler used on their cars, and I really like that Petty Blue. So that would be my favorite. But I'd take any Roadrunner. But you're looking at
okay.
anywhere from 60 to 75 grand now for those vehicles. It's just my price range. But regardless of my favorite vehicles and my fantasies for what I want to buy someday, what do we think this is? An auto or mobile equipment?
I think you started us off easy,
No.
so I think we're gonna go auto.
There you
Yes.
go. So license for road use. It's designed for public road use. So yes, auto is a proper response. Congratulations, you two. Give yourselves a round of applause. Excellent job.
What do I win?
Nothing. Just the ability to remain on this podcast, Alicia. Which is
Well, yeah,
yep,
Oh, is
if
that
we're
all it
wrong, we
takes?
get booted.
yes.
Is that
So
all
yeah,
it
if you get
takes?
one wrong, you're booted. You're no longer allowed to.
Oh,
Okay.
So
that's
let's look
pressure.
at that. Ready for the next one?
Sure.
Yep.
Here we go. Now here we got kind of like a rock truck. So what do y'all think? Mobile equipment or auto?
Well, I'm
Well, I
gonna
don't see those
go.
driving around on public roads. Usually
Right.
they're on the side of a road.
But it is kind of interesting
Yes,
because it does look like it could be potentially a vehicle auto
it looks
type
like it
thing.
could go
But
on a road, but
right,
it probably wasn't designed for it.
right. So
Exactly.
it's not primarily designed for use on public roads. So mobile equipment was the right answer. You guys are geniuses. Awesome job. But let's continue. How about the next one? The old dump truck.
Hmm.
Ooh, okay. Well, dump trucks probably travel on roads.
Hmm.
It
And
definitely looks like a regular old truck, just happens to be able to dump things.
right.
So I'm gonna go auto.
You, sir, would be correct. So good job. Alicia, what do you, oh, I already gave her the answer. So it's too late to
Yeah,
ask for
you
it.
did. I was going to say auto too because I've seen
All
those
right.
on the road.
Right. They're on the road all the time. So yes,
And I don't
designed
know
for
if they
use
have
on
to be
public roads.
commercially used anyway. So,
Yeah, people could. I could own a dump truck if I wanted to, right?
hmm,
Why not?
hmm.
It's America. All right. Next one. Ready? Woohoo! Now check this one out. Now it's kind of a crater, but in the picture here, it's removing snow. So we said primarily, if it's primarily designed for snow removal, it would be an auto. But if it's not generally used on public roads, it would be a mobile equipment. So this one gets a little questionable.
So going back to the definitions, what
Right,
exactly did we say about the snow? I remember something about snow
right.
removal.
Let me look it up. Now you're going to make me go back to the policy. All right. Tim, how dare you, sir? All right, we ready? This was
Sure.
under where? Here we go. Under number 6. Talks about vehicles here that are self-propelled with the type with these types of permanently attached equipment are not mobile equipment but will be considered autos. Equipment designed primarily for snow removal. So I think that would be the question with this one. Is it designed primarily for snow removal?
I don't know. Could it
Uh,
be used to move around gravel?
Yes.
I don't know.
And dirt and construction and build roads. Yes. So does that sway your opinion one way?
yeah. So it's that word primarily that
Right.
sways me.
Hmm.
I would think we'd be more towards mobile equipment on this one. So you two are
Hmm.
geniuses. And good job, Tim, making us go back to the policy to read. Because that's what you always do. Go back to the policy like Parker would and read and then make a determination.
Question
Good job.
authority.
Right. All right. Next one. Ooh, backhoe.
What'd you call me?
I did not. Or a
I had
track
to lighten the
hoe or
mood.
but this one has permanently attached equipment that does digging. That was also in the definition.
For
Out of the
machinery.
auto side, yes. So mobile
Mm-hmm.
equipment, you with me on this one?
Mm-hmm.
With
All
you.
right.
Yep.
Thank you. Next one, the old skid steer, the Bobcat.
Mm.
Okay. Yeah, equipment.
Yeah.
Yes. It's not licensed for road use, so mobile equipment. All right. Excellent. You guys are doing awesome. What's next? The boat.
Whoa, there's a curveball.
Yeah, it
Right.
is.
It's a game show. We got to have some fun.
Mm-hmm.
Do, 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 do.
Okay, well, I can't be an auto because it's not designed for public
Right.
roads. But would it be mobile equipment? Are we Mike, in
You're
your
thinking
game
too hard,
show,
Tim. You're
is
thinking
everything one or the other, or could something be neither?
something could be neither. Yes, of course. It's a boat. A
I don't
boat is
know.
a
Can it
boat.
go on land?
So, trick question. Boat is a boat is a boat.
Wasn't there
Trick
something in
question.
the future where
You with
people
me?
would try to have something that would go
Maybe.
on land and roads?
Yeah, they do. They have those cool, like those ducks in Boston you can ride that are both
Mhm.
on the road and then that might, we'll go back to that, Alicia, because that might be one of those cool little dual purpose vehicles that we're going to talk about later. Oop, I gave away something I wasn't
Mhm.
supposed to. Anyways, let's move on to the next one, folks. Farm equipment, your combine, your tractor, and their attached trailer. It was
Equipment.
right.
Mhm.
It was in the definition. One of the first ones in mobile equipment was farm vehicles. So there you go. Good job, folks. Next. Hmm. Ooh. Here we got a truck with this cool old attached crane thingamajiggy. Look at that big old tree
Tree stump.
trunk stump on the back. That thing's huge. What do we
Mhm.
think? So this is permanently attached equipment to an auto, if that helps at all,
I remember in the definition of auto, I remember you said trailers were part of the auto.
right?
I don't
Mhm.
remember what you said about attached equipment.
Well, let's go back and look. How about that? Oh, here it is. It's under number 4. Woo! Geez,
Found
took
it.
me a while.
Yay.
Yay! Vehicles, whether self-propelled or not, maintained primarily to provide mobility to permanently mounted power cranes, shovels, loaders, diggers, or drills. So there we would go. So if it's a vehicle, it would be auto if it has these attached things that are attached to an auto. So the way I always looked at it, Tim, in my simple man approach, something to permanently attach to the auto or even trailers when they're attached to the auto always become an auto in my mind, right?
All right.
So this thing's an auto, but it might be I don't know. It's an auto because that's permanently attached to it. Okay, you with me?
Yeah, I mean,
Maybe? All right.
it looks like a truck. It reminds me of the
It's a
dump truck.
truck. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Just like the dump part of a dump truck is that permanently attached thing that dumps loads. This loads loads. How's that? But it's permanently attached. It's not getting off of that truck. So while it's attached to the truck, it's going to be an auto because that thing's going up and down the road all the time, right?
Yep.
Mhm.
All right. Thank you. All right. How about another one here?
One more.
One more. Yay. So this comes up to the secretive kind of third example that we want to talk about. And this is a dual purpose vehicle. So we have our auto, we have our mobile equipment, and then we have these vehicles like this. So this is a truck. It certainly is used on the road. Here you shoot all those wood chippings into the back of it. So it certainly looks like an auto, right?
Mhm.
But when that thing's stopped at the job site and they're using that cherry picker to raise and lower workers, is that an auto exposure? Or is that a GL exposure? This one, yeah, gets on to me. There's 3 types of vehicles that can possibly be covered under one or the other policy. So here we have autos, which we know well because you guys have done great on those questions. Mobile equipment, we look up that definition, we can figure it out. And then you got ones like this that could be they could be both.
Mm.
This is an auto while it's going down the road, right? It's
True.
licensed for road use. So if there was an accident involved in this vehicle on the highways and byways, probably going to be an auto exposure. But while that thing stopped and like the stabilizers are out and we're lifting workers to cut down tree limbs and whatnot, and one of those tree limbs falls down and damages my car, that is a GL exposure. So you have a dual purpose vehicle. Over the road exposure, covered under the auto. GL exposure for while you're using that crane there to lift folks up and do their job trimming trees. That's going to be GL exposure. So that's your cool dual purpose vehicle. Isn't that exciting?
Interesting.
Very interesting.
So there you go. 3 types of vehicles: auto, mobile equipment, and a dual purpose.
And neither.
And neither. Yes, if it's a watercraft, it's a watercraft. So awesome job, folks. You guys did wonderfully amazing in our game show. I hope you enjoyed it.
Are you sure I don't get a prize?
You get a
You're
prize.
still here.
Right. We're going to
That's
do
my
another
prize.
podcast. So, yay. Right.
I wasn't automatically booted out, kicked out of the podcast.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Mike had his finger on the button. He was ready to go.
He
We're
was just
ready.
like, man, you're ejected.
But no, of course not, Alicia. It wouldn't be the same without you. We need you on the podcast.
Ah. All right. So, what can we take away from this scenario, Mike?
Well, what you can take away is if you're like Parker. So what's Parker do when his coworkers come up to him and say, what type of vehicle is this? Well, the first thing you're going to do, right, Tim, is pull that policy out of your pocket and read the darn thing, right? There's definitions. You're going to go through the exclusions, see what might apply. But here we are really definition heavy on today's podcast. So look over those definitions. It's very important. Also understand that there's 3 vehicle types as we learned today. We have an auto for its over-the-road exposure. We have other things that always are going to be defined as autos. Once you read your little definitions, you'll find that out. And then you have things that are going to be specifically mobile equipment. And then we have those cool things like our cherry picker that are those dual purpose vehicles. So 3 types of possible vehicles. And the amazing part of the GL policy and the auto policy is, again, we come together in insurance to provide the coverage you need. How do we do that? Because we have this cool dovetailing of coverages between the policies to make sure that you're properly covered. Oh, and it's a beautiful thing. Huh?
It's lovely.
Thank you, Alicia. Thank you. Tim, can we go anywhere to learn more about this stuff?
Oh, we can always learn more. Members can go to plrb.org and find lots of resources and materials that cover the stuff, Mike, that you very eloquently discussed today.
Thank you,
We
Tim.
have CGL annotations, we'll have commercial auto annotations, I'm sure with
Right.
chapters that address this, as well as prior coverage questions that PLRB attorneys have answered, going into more specific details about a specific claim. Lots of information on plrb.org. We encourage members to come check it out.
Hear, hear. And Alicia, would you be
Yes.
kind enough to add those to the show notes?
Sure, I can do that.
That was my line.
I know, it's all right, Tim.
Mike.
We're
missed it.
we dovetail
We're moving
together
on
too,
without
Tim.
you, Tim.
Right.
See, that would get you ejected from the podcast.
I'm close. There's almost both of you almost out of here. But yeah, but no,
Oh,
that's fine, Tim. We work together. We're
see,
partners here.
Mike's just trying to do this on his own. He's trying to
I
beat
know.
both of us. Can
You
you
know, once
do
you
it?
put me in charge of the scenarios, I think I'm in charge of everything. Yeah, you're right, Alicia.
But to answer your question, yes, we can link have the links in our show notes. You can also find a recap of today's podcast. And we'll also have links to our social media, information on how you can submit your own Adjust Your Story. But don't forget to subscribe and give us a nice thumbs up, 5-star rating. We're on whatever platform you're on. And we hope to see y'all next time.
Yay. Goodbye, everybody.
Thank you.
The views and opinions expressed in this resource are those of the individual speaker and not necessarily those of the Property and Liability Resource Bureau, its membership, or any organization with which the presenter is employed or affiliated. The information, ideas, and opinions are presented as information only and not as legal advice or offers of representation. Individual policy language and state laws vary, and listeners should rely on guidance from their companies and counsel as appropriate.